Okay, it's 9:02, so let's get started. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes here? The old minutes? Not old, minutes from last meeting. Let's take a few minutes and do that. I haven't.
I have also.
Oh,
Yeah.
I have half of a bow tie. Since they broke when I tried to get them out of the box. Into the box and then out of the box.
Well, the girls are busy reading.
Oh, I just need forks out for the fruit.
Suggestion for next time is if we email the minutes, like even the night before.
Oh, you know, that's a good idea, actually,
So
to
then
do
we're
that.
not spending time during
Well,
the-
they're posted on the agenda management portal.
this sounds like Kathy.
So I will send you a link so you can get to them.
Okay.
Instead of adding another to
Yeah.
do to my plate.
Right.
And once you have the link, you can bookmark it. Here you go, I'm sorry. But I forgot the fork.
It's kind of finger food.
This is all being recorded, you know.
Of course.
Maybe I can do Karen a favor and just print out a written record from the recording. And no, you don't have to take notes.
Well, that would take longer though. You'd have to do the whole meeting a second time.
Take two.
Right.
I just, you know,
I kind of do anyway.
print out a
Do we have any corrections or additions to minutes?
Are we done looking at them? I don't think they're done.
Anybody done looking at them?
Just the number of Kathy's in here.
Yeah, how many Kathys we got?
On the second page, old business,
Number two.
Yeah.
Number two.
That
Oh, I'll fix that.
that is gonna be Connie. Because it's Kathy and Connie and Karen. Yeah, I was just getting that.
I'll fix
to-
it.
No problem.
Um,
I need to do the added those other names that didn't occur to me.
I didn't catch that one. I was here twice.
Yes.
There you go.
Me and my doppelganger.
Everybody has one.
Mm-hmm. It's my sister. Facebook thinks we're the same person.
That's crazy.
It's funny.
Health.
Everybody done? Any changes, additions, or anything?
just the one.
Just the one? Okay. Can we have a motion to approve the minutes? You're still reading?
I move that we approve them with the correction.
With second. All in favor?
Aye.
They're approved.
Go ahead, next.
And yeah, then the next we go to Kathy, I think, the house managers report.
We had a busy month in June. We had 32 events, 9 city, a lot of those were grant meetings, 7 clubs, which is all we'll have until fall, 1 final walkthrough, 4 revenue generating events, and 11 tours. It's been crazy. And of course the garden was very busy with photos, particularly from the new venue across the street and the venue over here on the corner, the Terry and the St. Vrain. We've had some interesting conversations with those groups when they want to come in when we've got an event. We had 34 inquiries in June, which is keeping nice track with the number we normally have in the June timeframe. 6 came in by phone, 28 were electronic. You can see that the City of Longmont website and Wedding Wire were the winners. We still did get a couple leads for Venue Hub, but I think those are going to be going away shortly. We had 255 guests in June, which is the most we've had since COVID started, which is wonderful. We booked 8 new revenue generating events. I've been very busy, and I'm still trying to get out all the estimates and the contracts and the information to the people that they want, which brings us to a total of 22 revenue events in 2021. In the garden, grow planted annuals around the sign just to put a little color in the bed until we plant the perennials. During one really hot weekend in June, when we had multiple events, we froze the air conditioners up, which I've never had happen before. We had to completely turn them off overnight, and fortunately we were able to turn them back on the next day for the events that we had, and we're keeping an eye on them. We've got brand new air conditioners, and it's crazy to me that we're having those kinds of problems already. July's pretty busy. In addition to the clubs, we had a 60th wedding anniversary on Saturday with food from Niwot Market, which I had never had them drop off before, so that was kind of interesting. They have some beautiful salads. We had a memorial on Monday with Greens Point Catering, and we have a 50th wedding anniversary party on the 31st of July with Spice of Life, I think, as long as they get the quote out to the lady. On the grant, we're continuing to work on that. It's due August 1st by noon. We've received a number of letters of support from the community, and we had an article in the paper on June 24th, and then it was also carried in the Boulder Camera the next day or a couple days afterwards. And it was also posted online. We're going to present the grant to City Council on July 27th at the meeting in order to get approval for Brian to sign the grant agreement. Because it's an intergovernmental application or an intergovernmental agreement between the city and the state, he's the only person in the city who can sign it. I updated first aid, CPR, and tips. I got that off my plate for a couple of years. Like I mentioned before, Venue Hub is going to resume charging for their services, so we're not going to see them anymore. But at that, I had put in here, our budget spent mostly on wedding sites and services, the knot and wedding wire. I'm reading the minutes. I'm sorry about that. I'm reading the minutes instead of my manager's report. Did anybody pick up on that?
Pretty close.
When I turned the page, I went like this instead of turning the page and started reading the minutes. I'm sorry. I thought that was last month's meeting. Well, sorry about that.
You did fine to the bottom of the first page.
Yeah, I did. But now instead of flipping the page, I just flipped the paper. So sorry about that. My hair's kind of blonde right now, so.
Careful.
Well, actually, I'm just talking about me. And then, obviously, we booked a lot of new events. You can see what we've got. We picked up a drop-off with the 60th wedding anniversary. The memorial reception was new since last month. The 50th anniversary party was new. We booked a 50th anniversary party in mid-August. We picked up 2 days of meetings with Balfour Senior Living. And we picked up a rehearsal dinner in September, and a celebration of life in September, and a graduation party for next year.
Great.
What's a drop-off?
Yeah, what is it?
That's their opportunity to bring like centerpieces, alcohol.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what
Some events have a drop-off. Some of them, like weddings, have a drop-off with a rehearsal. So, and we do charge for it because otherwise they waste our time.
Oh,
Yeah,
So it is a revenue generating event. They don't generate a lot of revenue, but every little bit adds up. Wedding Sites and Services announced that they were permanently closing at the end of June. The current issue of the magazine is going to stay on store shelves until they're sold out. The website closed on the 30th of June. So we won't be getting any more leads from them. Recreation made a decision to publish a fall brochure. And I'm currently updating the Callahan House information for the brochure, which is going to go to print soon. It will include our September Art Walk and our December Santa Open House, which we need to confirm the date for. If you take a look at the Revenue expense actuals, you can see that we're in the black by almost $10,000, $9,000 and change. So that's really good news after a year when we spent money out of the fund. Let me turn, I don't usually staple mine, and I clearly need to not staple mine.
I like them.
They're just a lot easier for me to handle. We're up to a total of 64 events with 446 guests, and that number is climbing quite rapidly. If you take a look at the event actuals, you'll see that we had a lot of grant working sessions. In addition to 2 tours for the museum. Eric Mason's doing his historic West Side tours, and we did a tour on June 15th and another one on June 16th with about 12 people in each one. They were here for about 15 minutes. And one gentleman sat in the garden while they hoofed around. If you take a look at the special events, you'll see the list is quite long. We did a celebration of life on June 11th with a drop-off on the 10th. We did a wedding with a rehearsal on the 12th and 13th. We did a number of tours. Most of the rest were tours or planning sessions for the events that are coming up in August and September. You take a look at expenses. What you'll see is we're starting to have normal operational expenses. We pretty much hadn't bought anything for a year. So I'm having to replace or get supplies for lots of things like the dishwasher, a first aid kit, zip ties for the PA system. We paid for potting soil for the pots. And then if you look under professional and contract services, you'll start to see rentals for the outdoor events, intimate staffing for the events, and then our normal advertising expenses. And then as usual, on the last page, the city finance system is a little behind my spreadsheet, so the numbers aren't quite reflective of what's on the first page, but mine's completely up to date, and the city finance report is up to date as of the end of June. Any questions?
Where is that the balance of our phone?
It isn't on these reports. It's about $37,000. And I wouldn't quote me on that, but it's close.
What was the question?
The balance of the Callahan fund.
It's in the Munis reports. I can pull it. Remind me. Okay. That's all I got.
Okay, and I guess that takes us to old business and grant updated discussion, so I'll give it to Karen.
So we sent to all the board members the draft that was submitted to History Colorado for their review. We expect to hear back from them June 22nd, or July 22nd, with their comments and suggestions. So that was our one pass at giving us some assistance and direction on that. So we'll look forward to that. But in the meantime, if anyone has anything to say or any comments or suggestions, please feel free to email me. We still can make changes, obviously, right up until the last week of this month. I don't intend to wait until August 1st to submit this, though, so you all know. I think realistically, I'd like to let everyone know if you can get back to me with any comments or suggestions by next Friday, the 23rd. That's what I would really appreciate. If there's anything. After that,
It's very
forever hold
odd.
your peace.
Well, the deadline is a Sunday. Isn't that weird?
So I'm
that is
going to
odd.
be submitting the Friday prior because I'm not interested in delaying. And I don't want to be one of those, when the last one and something's going wrong with the system because
Yep.
we did have some system issues previously. So
Maybe the 28th or the 29th.
I would like to, as soon as council says yes and Brian signs, then I want to go ahead and submit it. That's it. Yeah. So 23rd.
We're still getting a few letters of support.
I was gonna ask.
If anybody wants to see the letters, you're welcome to.
Yeah.
We had them all scanned.
We do.
We've had a couple more come in since then.
Okay, we'll continue.
That would be my question, I can still submit a letter then?
Yes.
Because when you were asking for them, it was like, total craziness, and so.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We've gone through and narrowed it down to our top picks so far. But we're still taking in and anything that is going to outweigh another of our top pick, we'll place it.
Oh, okay.
I met yesterday with Jade Kruger. She's the new historical preservation person in the city of Longmont. And she's going to write a letter too, so, from the historical commission's perspective.
Mhm.
So that'll give us another option.
Sounds good. Wonderful. We do have a lot of letters of support from many different areas.
Right, it turns out now it's over 20.
Wonderful coverage.
I think it's
beyond
closer to 30.
Oh, good.
So,
We've had some beautiful letters come in. Really, really nice letters.
So it's good to see the kind of community support, the breadth of it, just across every line where we can support from the community, so it's nice. Let's see, at this point, we are finalizing the attachments that go to the grant. That includes historic pictures, it includes current pictures of damages. It is just a huge list of additional things. We're getting close to being done. Today we'll be reviewing, last week we reviewed damages of the windows, the plexiglass, and the driveway. This week, today after our meeting, we're reviewing the damages to the paint, the exterior paint, and then we're looking through the historic pictures of the cars and driveway, the house and garden, the Callahan family. We also reviewed and approved maps, site plans, and drawings that are going to be included as attachments, as well as demographics of Longmont, timeline of the Callahan House, the warranty deed from June 1938, and coming will be the finishing the history of the house and the Callahans. We have all of the bids that we're submitting that we referred to in the grant application. We're collecting and finalizing all resumes. That includes the contractors. So we have a few more of those to collect.
Including mine.
And it will be okay, because we will get it done. And other than that, I'm going to get an aerial photo of the driveway. I do have the house plans that the students from CDC did back in 2002. And I had them reduced to 8.5 by 11 size, and then also put on a flash drive. So we have an electronic copy of that now. The CDC does not have that program anymore. They're looking to apply it or for the students, but they kind of lost the program about 7 years ago. So they had no access to any of those records. So that's why I took the whole plans to have them reduced and to get a smaller hard copy, but also to have an electronic copy so that we have that for future going forward. But the drawings are beautiful because they do show all of the aspects of the house, the floor plan, the landscape, the property in its entirety, each floor, and then the front, north, east, south, front being west, drawings of all of that. So that helps to illustrate the magnitude of the driveway, and though a couple of the History Colorado advisors had come to tour and we'd shown them all of our projects, and we're confirming about the driveway because that's kind of a sticking point. They don't just replace concrete and parking lots, but this is special, it's different. It is original to when the Callahans did the massive overhaul of the house and the garden, and so it does apply. So that's great news, obviously, but to be able to show the readers of the grant applications just how huge this historic decorative driveway is and why it's important to preserve it is going to be part of that, and we have to show that through our language and the content of the application, and also through pictures. So that's what's being done. Other than that, if anyone has any questions, please. We also included a current photo of the house, which is beautiful, and it's perfect for what we need to show. If anyone has any questions or any comments or any concerns, please email to me as soon as you can, so we can resolve anything and address that and move forward. But we're right on track, and we're coming very close to being complete in time, which is nice. It's a huge undertaking. But I
That's
have
for sure.
great confidence. I think the content is wonderful, it's very powerful, it's supportive of what we're asking for. So I believe we're going to be highly competitive.
Well, and it just as an FYI, if we are awarded the grant, then we'll have to issue an RFP and get bids again. So that's required both by the state and by the city.
It's a process.
So the earliest we could start work would be sometime in 2022. So
Which is just around the corner.
Yes.
Scary.
I'll have to talk to purchasing about how we break the bids up. Because it would be nice if we could get started on the window in the library sooner. Not only because of the state of the window, but also because we could do it in our off season instead of trying to do it while we're really busy.
That's a good point, yeah.
And Watkins did say they could make time to be available to do that as well. So that's good news.
So when will we hear from the, from Mystery Colorado?
July 22nd is when we hear their
Feedback.
Their feedback.
Thereafter, once we submit, August 1st, I think it's in
Around
September.
I think it's around October 1st.
Is it?
That we would hear.
What happened with we had the delay and it had to do with the stipulation part of it or the?
We're still
agreement?
working. We're still working on
What
that.
was Yeah.
There's, just so you understand, the city has to sign an agreement, a 20-year covenant with the state, which basically says that any changes or modifications we make to the house have to be submitted for their review, so that they can be sure that we're not affecting the historical nature of the property. So we're in the process of, that's the reason why we were delayed in going to council, or one of the reasons we were delayed in going to council is the covenant. So I sent a note to the State Historical Fund to get some clarification on that so that Jeff can present it to council. I think all it is an ask. I mean, the landmarking pretty much does the same thing. You know, the historical landmarking, especially for the exterior of the property, but the historical landmarking really doesn't affect what we do inside. And I think they want say in both what goes on outside and inside.
Which we would always operate under the idea of creating exactly what was there before in the first place. So
Yes.
it shouldn't be a big deal.
I don't think it's a big
Something
deal.
different.
It's just more a matter of explaining. So.
Kathy, do you know if you have this Times Call article?
When's it dated?
71.
Wow.
I don't know. I'd have to go look.
I went to the museum and dug through the archives and took pictures of everything that's in there and anything I needed to get a copy of.
There are a bunch
I
of
with Eric to get, but
scrapbooks.
you don't want that? I'll gladly take it.
Well, it's been in here for I don't know how long, so I'm passing it on.
Thank you.
There.
We
We'll
will-
check the
we will-
scrapbooks.
We will definitely, yes, we can do that.
Let's see if we
too.
have it.
But then, yes.
Is that the waffle breakfast?
It
Picture?
has breakfast, it's a picture of dinner club, my husband's grandparents are in the dinner club
Oh, very cool.
picture, and I don't know who saved it, but anyway, that's
Just
been in
say
here
That's
forever.
amazingly good condition.
Candy
It is,
saves
and that's why it's like,
everything.
let's be really careful with that, because what I'll do is I will probably take it to Eric Mason and at the,
And add it to it,
at the
Yeah,
archives.
yes, if that's where it needs to be.
Yes.
And I also, Kathy, I've told you this before, I have the deed to the property when they.
Yeah, you sent us scans of that.
Yes, and I went to look for it last night, and I don't know which file I stuck it in. But anyway,
Well, when you
I'd
get
love
that,
to see what you have, because what I did is I called the clerk and recorder
Mhm.
and paid the fee and had them provide me with an electronic copy of the deeds.
I've
So
got-
I would love to make sure that what you have is
what we have.
exactly what we have. So
I'll buy it.
I would love that. If you need help, I'll come over and help.
Oh, honey. Thanks to the offer.
Like their layout, they went across, they don't do that anymore, where they go across the whole page with the layout.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Well, gladly take that one. That
Pass it this way.
Okay.
Karen, do you want-
Does that conclude the old business?
Look how big the page is.
Isn't it
Yeah, it's even
wonderful?
bigger.
It's just fabulous.
Ben, do you want to see it?
I don't wanna touch it.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I know
Yeah,
it's
it's got the
clean, I'm gonna
fingers.
touch the edges,
Sausage
not the
fingers.
print.
I've seen
And,
these pictures.
because, yeah, that's special.
This is great.
Yes. So, yeah. Just tiny inches.
Yeah.
I'm like, my little black gloves, I've got them in there. I can pull my little black gloves out.
You can buy a special, like envelope or cover to put in that that's acid reducer or something.
Yes, I
Reserves
have,
it.
I have some of those too at home, so I will likely do that right away.
It's been sitting in my basement for
Exactly.
I
You see what treasures you have?
She has all kinds of
Just
treasures.
keep bringing
They
them.
just keep
I'll
coming.
take them.
Okay,
I will
well,
make sure,
You
yeah.
find them, we'll
You
get
do I'll take them. Okay, yes, that concludes.
Oh, okay, so let's move to new business and art walk, which I'll just have, the selection of artists is going quite well. Right now, we've got 4 confirmed. The first one, Diane Wood, is one that Maureen has been speaking. I haven't actually touched base with her, so I'll have to touch base with Maureen to make sure she's confirmed it with her. And I may have told her wrong, because when we talked a while back, I wasn't aware that you did allow the painting demonstrations. I think that was before I came or something.
It may have been.
Yeah,
She
so I wasn't
just did it on the front
Right,
porch.
and I don't remember that, so I think it might have been the year before I came or something.
Could
So
be.
I'll clear, I was gonna talk to her today and say Diane can do it on the porch if she wants, because I wasn't aware of that.
So I mean, we may have to think about where we put her if Doug does the music.
Yeah.
That's
so-
the only thing, but we can figure that out.
Right, so we'll touch base with Maureen on that. And then we have Deb Nichols, she does her floral paintings. Jeff Gauthier, and he's been here before, he does the beautiful wood carvings.
Could
Okay.
you spell his last name for me?
Gauthier. Very nice. I'm thinking that maybe this year, instead of putting him upstairs, because right now I've only got 4, and we could keep it that way, but we could use the dining room for him to set his.
Yeah, he just needs to bring less stuff.
Yeah,
That's Kathy's comment. He had a lot of stuff left
Yeah,
last
well,
time.
we had 2, like an L shape, we had set him up, and some of his stuff was quite big.
Yes.
What is
Wood carvings of birds, and they're just beautiful. He was upstairs, so you might have.
Yeah, he was in the meeting room last time.
Well, we could.
That was where he wanted to be.
Exactly.
That's what he asked for.
Yeah, and I'll decide if we wanted to. So that's still available, right? If you want.
It is. Well, we could also put him in the auto house, although he won't get as much traffic.
Yeah, unless he. I think that would be he'd be there himself. So. And then I found a new girl, and I saw her. Seen her art. Her name is Jenna Sickau, Sickau. I've got her card. She does watercolors that are kind of like feathery of animals, and it's just beautiful. And I contacted her, and she's going to come too. So that's 4 artists.
I think that's plenty.
That's what I was thinking.
I think that's plenty for one.
Right,
for the
just
first
coming
one
out of
back.
COVID. Yeah, we don't want to crowd too much. So I was just thinking though, if Diane Wood does go on the porch, we might have room for 1 more in the house. If somebody wants to recommend somebody, I would definitely at least look into it. But so just let me know. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna. I don't have a photographer yet. And, usually we have a photographer, so that's neither here nor there really. But anyway, if you do have somebody you want to recommend, just let us know.
You could sure talk to that husband and wife.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of his name.
I got her name right on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
They both do really nice work.
If you really wanted to add somebody else.
Yeah.
And music?
Lindsay, no.
I just need to send an email to Doug Brunson and see if he'll do it. He's never said no yet. and it's great fun.
We can have a garden artist and.
Yeah, I think we have plenty, Lynn and her husband.
I mean, and garden, like gardener.
Oh, you mean we need one?
No, do we?
Yeah, we
No.
have Deb Nichols and she does,
She's going to be in the garden.
oh, no, but she does florals.
Oh.
I'm sorry, you meant somebody out in the
Somebody who
garden?
does garden art. That is, you know, we used to have a lady who did.
Oh, I know what you mean, yeah, I think that
garden
was,
art.
She's
I know
gone.
she's probably not available.
Well,
anymore.
sunset
That's
is
an idea.
7:15 on that day.
okay.
So I think the garden art's easier in May,
Okay.
just because of the light issue. We have had that guy with the metal sculptures.
Yeah.
The problem with some of the garden art is sometimes they bring their stuff and they don't take it away.
We
You
had
know, like the guy that had the big metal flowers and stuff, we literally had to call him and say, come get your stuff. We have a wedding.
and we had the lady with the whirligigs,
Yeah.
2 years ago.
Well, we also had that lady that used to make the totems out of the plates and dishes and stuff, and those were beautiful, but she doesn't do it anymore. So we'll just keep our eyes open at
Yes.
art festivals and fairs and see if we can find somebody that would be appropriate in the garden. That would be
Yeah.
fun.
And that's actually how I found Miss Jenna. I was at a home show up in Loveland, and
Mhm.
she was showing that. I said, "Oh, that does your work."
I was out in the garden having coffee with a friend one day, and a lady came and set up an easel and was painting. And in the time we sat there and had coffee, maybe 45 minutes, or so, she did a beautiful painting.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. I don't know why I didn't stop her and say, "Can I get your card?"
Next time.
Yeah, next time.
Next time, never, never.
Yeah.
I did that at all the shows. Can I do your card? Would you
Yeah.
be interested in coming to the Callahan House? I try not to do it too much because I don't want to hoard, and I don't want to disappoint. I'd rather undercommit, overdeliver than tell people they can come and then not have room for them.
Okay. So the one thing I have to do now with the artists that we do have confirmed, and if anybody else comes up, is give them the instructions, and that consists of, and I just want to make sure we're same as we've done in other years, and that is from noon to 1 we have set up. So we need them to come. I need to know how many floor easels they'll need. I know we have a huge amount of tabletop easels, so I'll just count that, but 5 each. I usually limit it to no more than
Ish.
5. No,
Yeah.
Unless they really have.
Well, and then if somebody doesn't want that many, we have more. I have to rent them though, so you need
That's
to
why I
let
like
me
to know
know.
how many. So, that's my to-do, so I will definitely get that letter out.
So do you want to do set between, we tried 3 to 4 in 2019. Which did you like better? I have no opinion. 12 to 1 or 3 to 4?
The nice thing about 3 to 4 is if the artists have traveled a lot, they live farther away, they don't have to have 3 hours of blank time,
Right.
So we can
Are they all local or are they?
reasonably local. In fact, Diana Wood, I guess, is, Deb Nichols is, Jeff is up in Lyons, and Jenna, I believe she's Loveland. So not too far, but still, it's up to, they can hang around town for a couple hours or.
Well, I think we need to do what's convenient for us.
For me, it doesn't matter because either way, we're here. It's still, if we have it at noon to 1, I have to, come and then go and come back again, or just stay through it. So, do we have any other input on that, or anybody?
I think it's more you and me and the artists.
So
So what,
I would vote for the 3 to 4 setup, and then they're here.
Right.
I think.
Makes sense.
Um,
Work for you?
it does. And we're usually pretty quiet, so if anybody, it's not quite done by 4, I don't think it's a huge
right.
crisis in my text.
Yeah. Okay.
What day is this again?
Just
Saturday,
September 11th.
11th.
Hard one to forget.
Right.
Okay, so we got set up from 3 to 4.
4 to
actual
8.
4 to 8.
And then the show is 4 to 8. What we also need is to have several of us here. We can split it up, is what we usually do. It's only 4, well, it'll be 5 hours if we start at 3 and go to 8. So if somebody wants to take the first,
We usually do 4 to 6:30 and 6:30 to 8 for the shifts.
Yeah.
So that we have a little bit of an overlap.
do we want to start the first shift at 3 since we're,
Actually, No, no.
6:30 is
We don't
fine.
need everybody here at 3, just you and I.
But everyone just knows to be here about 10 minutes before your
Start.
time.
Actually,
Your start time is 4 o'clock.
4 to
Your
6 and 6 to 8. We always had a half-hour overlap
Yeah.
in case people had to go a little early or come a little late.
Right.
So we weren't left without staffing. So 4 to 6 and 6 to 8 are the 2 shifts.
And since I'm gonna be here at 3, can I keep
the cleaner
first shift?
Yes.
Okay, so that's me, and who else wants to be on the first shift? Kathy, do you wanna be on that?
I'll be here the whole
You're-
time,
you're-
so
you're
you don't
on
need
too.
to ask me.
I can do
I
first.
was just gonna say,
Okay,
I'll do whatever you need.
I'm flexible too, so.
okay, so we got Kathy, me, and Candy.
Okay.
And then 6 to 8, who wants to be on that?
You can place me on
You can
6:30.
put Karen and Karen on there.
Karen.
And we'll just make Maureen there.
Karen Square would be good.
So we'll squeeze in Maureen, Janet, and Connie.
Wherever.
Wherever they wanna be, really,
Yeah.
because we're pretty much covered here, so
Yeah.
wherever they wanna be.
Well, I
It'd
think
be
that
nice to have more.
they need to split because we need to have coverage upstairs and downstairs.
That's true,
Right.
And one person can't cover, somebody can cover the upstairs easily,
Mhm.
one person cannot cover the downstairs.
That's
Right.
true. Okay. And also the second shift, usually helps with a little bit of this.
With the tear down.
Tear down.
Yeah, that's
Sure.
why I
Tear
took
down,
6:30
clean
to
up.
8:30 because I always know and I stay late to clean up.
I'll see if Jacqueline can come, but if she has an opportunity to work for Breeze Point, she makes a lot more money there, so
Sure.
we'll,
And it makes
Play that
sense
by
not
ear.
to have her actually here because it's not necessary and it's an additional expense we really don't need to have. So
we'll see. She helps a lot, so
Yeah,
we'll
she's
see
really
if,
good.
if it makes sense.
Okay, just to reiterate then, we have
My
the
guess is
setup.
she has a gig.
We'll have the setup 3 to 4. We divided up the work from 4 to 6 and 6 to 8. 4 to 6 would be Kathy, myself, and Candy. 6 to 8, Karen, and then Maureen and Jan can
And Connie.
and Connie.
isn't it 4 to 6? Isn't it 4 to 6:30 or is it?
Well, do you want to do 4 to 6:30 and then 6 to 8:30?
So there's a little overlap? Yeah, that works good.
All right,
And we have a half hour.
4 to 6:30 and 6 to 8:30. We're a little out of practice. I keep having to rethink stuff we've already done.
Yeah, we always
Yeah.
have a 30-minute overlap.
Okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt.
All of us.
Okay, and then, when do you want, I'll send the letter out in a few weeks to the artists. I have kind of a boilerplate that I've used,
Mhm.
and I'll just touch up all the changes. So about 2 weeks before, I should definitely get the number of easels and everything.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's.
And what I'll do is I'll put a stake in the ground with all events for an order so that they don't all go somewhere else and then we can just tweak it when you give me the count.
Okay, and then one question on the art walk, on number 2, you had written sponsorship. What do you mean by that?
We have always, at least since we started like officially participating, we've always paid for a sponsorship with Art Walk so that we get into the advertising. And I'm still trying to talk to Elaine. She's committed every week to meet with me and we still haven't met. So we're supposed to meet tomorrow. So
Okay.
hopefully I'll have an answer.
Okay, so, all right, well, that's all I have on Art Walk. And again, call me if you have any suggestions.
What I don't know about the sponsorship is since they're doing it like all summer, what I don't know is if they're actually doing any printed materials for September 11th. And if they're not doing printed materials, then it really we don't gain anything by having a sponsorship. So that's the question I need her to answer for me before I hand her money. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Should we put anything on the city website there?
We will.
Okay. Okay.
It's on my list.
Okay, that's all I have on Art Walk. The next one is Santa. I don't know who's talking to Santa.
I'm talking to Santa.
Put in a word for me.
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
I've been really good.
It's a little bit of sad news. Our normal Santa John, has some physical medical issues that he's struggling with, and so he is significantly limiting his appearances, and is also doing a lot of virtual stuff as opposed to in-person stuff. He's walking with a walker, having some issues. He and I had a long discussion. I think what we decided was in the format that we need and that we have done in the past, it's really not his kind of gig anymore. So Sam Calhoun gave me the name and email for the Santa that the city's using for Longmont Lights. His name is Pete Schwenker, I think that's how you pronounce it. And Pete and I have had a very preliminary conversation, but he has agreed to do it. I am hoping that we're going to go with our normal date, which is the first Saturday or first Friday of December, which would be December 3rd. So I wanted to get you guys to approve the date or recommend an alternate date if that doesn't work. And so that we can get back to him with a date and time that's fixed. And then we can go from there.
Santa
Yes.
Pete does lifeguarding for the city.
He does.
On Christmas
Well,
time.
and the other
For years.
That's great.
the other good news for us is Santa Pete is a city employee.
Yeah.
So Santa Pete gets paid city employee prices. So instead of $100 an hour for Santa Pete, we're probably going to be paying somewhere less than 30. I don't know what the exact number is. So yeah, Sam said she had it, but I didn't get it. I think it was actually under 20, but that's neither here nor there.
Kathy, why do I have something with Callahan House already on the
What
third?
you have on the 3rd is the December meeting and the lunch.
Oh, we're going back in the third, aren't we?
Well, but that's what we did the last time, and that's what people wanted to do, was do it all in one day and be done with it. So
We do that?
we did it
Really?
in 2019. We did it in 2019, and that's
I
what
can't
we,
remember the exact date.
that's, what we voted for, was to do the meeting and then the lunch and then the Santa open house all.
That's where we were all grumpy little elves.
Actually, I thought it was amazing. It went amazingly well. Because honestly, the meeting that day is very short. It's really more of a gift exchange and a lunch. I already have the lunch booked because I called Susie at 10 minutes after we opened up from COVID and said, would you just take our lunch and move it to this year? So that's already booked.
We're already all dressed up, so.
Right?
That's true.
All right, well, here we go.
So
So what time are we doing?
the meeting's at 10,
Okay.
and then we usually do a gift ornament exchange, and then the lunch is at noon. And then I was thinking we could either do 4 to 7:30 or 3:30 to 7:30, since Santa Pete's probably got more bandwidth and energy than Santa John. And the thing I need to know is we need to settle on the date and the time so that we can get it into the brochure and into City Line when the time comes up for December. So thoughts, I liked doing it a little earlier, which we originally did with Santa John, because we get the little babies, and the kids that aren't in school if we start at 3:30. Which gave people a chance to bring the infants and the preschoolers before we got mobbed with elementary school kids.
So you're suggesting we start at 3:30?
I think we should start at 3:30 and and cut the line off at 7:30. So it would probably be 3:30 to 8. Does that seem too long for you? And I'll have to clear that with Pete too, but I wanted to have some agreement here before
So starting at 3:30?
we'd start at 3:30 and go to, basically we would cut the line off at 7:30.
There you go. So December 3rd is a busy day.
Yeah. It's a Callahan day.
Does somebody want to make a motion?
I will so move on the
Second.
3rd of December, 3:30 to 7:30.
All in favor?
Aye.
I just took the words out of Ann's mouth.
I threw my voice. Okay, so we have,
And I'll get agreement from Pete. If the times change, I'll let you know. And of course, we're not going to plan for it yet.
We're penciling it in.
The other thing I would ask is that you start thinking about your availability either the week before Thanksgiving or the week after Thanksgiving to decorate.
okay. Okay. Anything else on Santa and Christmas? Let's move on then to the permanent sign planting plan, and again, I'll turn that over to Karen.
So we have a working plan of what's going to go in the bed around the permanent sign. We've made a couple of changes to it based on Anna from Grove's suggestions and a couple suggestions from Ian. That's great. And I think we're open to hearing if there's any particular plant or perennial or something that you guys think would be nice to include in there. And so if you wouldn't mind, email that to me, let's say by this Friday, because I'm going to meet with Billy Jowett, the flower bin, to go over and make sure spacing is appropriate, size is appropriate, and that we have a good plan then to come back to and show Anna again and say, how do we think this works, will it work? But we're getting really close, and I'd like to get them purchased as soon as possible. I need to double check with them about their ability to hold them. If I pay for them now, if they can hold them and plant sit them until we're ready to plant them, or what that might be. But I'll know more on.
Well, if this kind of weather kind of holds, we could plant it now.
Which
Is the-
I just don't want to plant it when they're 90 or
Right,
90
I
or
agree.
100 degrees.
I agree.
Is the sprinkler system good there now?
We still don't have drip, and we're probably not going to.
But I mean, does it get at least hit with this?
It gets hit with the grass
Okay,
sprinklers.
so at least they won't.
Yeah.
So,
And I was gonna say the ground there is nice and moist because of the lawn.
Yeah.
And the
trees.
trees.
And the trees.
Yeah, because I remember they got hit,
So
the
I
line got cut, didn't it, when they.
Yeah.
Whoosh.
Okay, but
that was a big deal.
I think that's fixed and
A
that's
big
good.
expensive deal, huh?
Yeah, we won't do that again.
Well, there wasn't anywhere we could put it that it wouldn't have gotten cut, so, because it runs that whole
Yeah,
length.
yeah.
But I think it'll be, so just please, if anyone has any other thoughts in their minds about perennials that they think would be beautiful in and around that sign and,
We're trying to keep them low.
yeah.
Do you have a
Except
list
for on
of
the
the
pillars.
suggestions?
Yes, I can email them to you all. They're the same group that I sent back in September of 2019, before I left the board for a year. But we've switched out, instead of the Carolyn's Hope Penstemon, even though it's big and it's flowy and open, it would grow a little bit tall and potentially block at least the bottom of the sign. So instead of that, Anne had a wonderful idea as about putting in Minnie Mouse and Minnie skirt hostas, which are beautiful and stay low.
Hostas.
And so
Yeah, but they're
hostas,
minis,
so they're
so they-
minis. So they don't grow tall.
Uh-huh.
They kind of grow.
Yes. And they make a beautiful hedge, like,
Yeah.
to make it surrounded with many.
Oh, okay.
Great.
And if we don't end up doing a border around that, I have a solution for that metal edging. We could take that metal edging out and have a composite edging put in, which is prettier. It's a dark brown, blends in, looks woody. So that might be an option if we can't do that. How do we cover this metal thing with plants? Because we're concerned. Our concern is that trimming and mowing might damage plants if we're having too close to the border. So the solution would be replace the border.
Yeah, we don't want to create a maintenance issue.
No,
Just by trying to make the sign pretty, we don't need to
Right, no.
create a turf issue.
but anyway, I can certainly today, I'll email all the board members the list again, and the planting pictures and things that we're looking at, so that you all have a visual and an understanding of kind of how it would look on each side.
Placement.
The placement of each of the plant of the sign. Anyway, but the columns, on the outsides of the columns, we can get tall. So keep that in mind.
But not too bushy.
Not
It's pretty narrow.
It needs to
Yeah.
stay nice and
Compact.
compact. Inside it's
It needs to be
barriers.
upright.
But yeah, it can get tall. So
They have the ornamental grasses that get about 3 feet tall.
yeah, those are pretty too.
They stay kind of.
They have
Yeah,
one, they have one that have this beautiful
Those tend to
purple
get
pink.
really,
They do grow their grasses.
yeah, they're,
They get right
Yeah.
up.
So
grass.
No
Yeah.
grass, okay. No grass.
We don't have any ornamental grass in the garden. I think we put in a couple that had some interesting color. They're more like a Japanese grass, but they're variegated. When we put in all those perennials last year, we did not put in any grasses except
And actually,
that
I'm
variegated one.
not a real fan. I just said that because I know they're tall and skinny, but they
I think they
do shed their seeds everywhere.
Then you end up with grass everywhere.
Yeah. So I'm not saying that.
All right. No grass.
No
Right.
grass.
But I'll email that to all,
And no
all the board
companion.
members.
We have plenty already.
What?
They're really pretty, but they're very tall, and they have those purple bell flowers, and they're very invasive. And because of all the rain this year, they're everywhere.
What are they called?
Campanula. We've been trying to eradicate them for 5 years, and
I
they're
remember that.
everywhere.
They found a home.
Anna's going to pull them all this week or next week. But they spread underground. They have kind of a white
Right
zone.
zone.
Yeah.
Another thing that does good in shade that's real low is just periwinkle.
Yes.
You know, that has, and it even when the flowers are done, it's got the pretty pretty foliage.
Yeah.
But it stays really low. I mean, it's-
Yeah.
The Jack Frosts are pretty too. They get like a purple flower stalk. They have a green leaf with white variegation in it, and then they have a purple stalk flower. Those are doing quite well out here by the Auto House.
Did we want to have all perennials, or did we talk before about
We need to leave a little
We're
room
gonna-
for
a
color.
hole in the middle for
Yeah,
us?
we're gonna leave some space, and
Yeah.
you'll see in the planting plan, there's
Some
just enough
impatiens
open
or
areas
begonias,
where
some that does
plants
shade.
can be planted.
Yeah.
Pop color.
Yeah. Probably begonias.
Yeah.
Yeah, the begonias do really well.
So I'll email it to everyone, email me back by Friday if you would, I'll put that in the email as a reminder too. And then, we'll be able to come up with some things to consider within the next couple of weeks so that we can be ready to go.
Okay. Any more on the flowers, or can we move on?
We're done.
Okay, and then the next thing is historic West Side walking tours, which once again, I will turn to.
I've been a busy.
You're popular,
You've been-
yeah.
Well, when I was at the museum, diving through the archives and just enjoying myself thoroughly, I talked to Eric
She
about
must still live
his.
there.
Right. With a cough.
I think they got a room upstairs.
I tell you, that little tree house up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Big
called
great place to-
It's nice and peaceful up there. Pretty views. But anyway, I mentioned to him that I really enjoy going on his downtown historic walking tours, both the east and west sides. And I asked him, on the tours, I hear other people saying the same thing, that they would love the opportunity to go inside one of the historic homes. Naturally, that's not possible because they are all privately owned, except for the Callahan House. And so I said, Eric, is it possible? Would you include a little nugget of your time in your tour? Would you be interested in including an inside tour of the Callahan House for your historic walking tours? He said, he was beaming with great smiles. I loved that. I said, wonderful, let's start immediately. So that
Immediately
was-
immediately.
which meant the
Like
next
tomorrow.
week.
The next week.
Yes, which meant because I was there on a Friday, it meant the next Tuesday. And he was like, let's do that. And of course, I was gone out of town. And I said, Kathy, guess what you're doing next
Yes,
Tuesday?
we have.
Wednesday?" And Ann, you're available to help, right? Week. And I was like, I promise I will cover the ones in September. But I think we need to hop on this because it's a wonderful opportunity to open the house to the community, include the museum and the wonderful history tours, and have the Callahan House, the interior open, available to the community that way.
So that
So
you did do
pleased
that.
that
Yes, I did.
happened, yes. And so we are going to go ahead and continue with that going forward. He does have very minimal tours, but they book quickly. I mean, as soon as they're posted,
Like
people
12
are
people.
booking.
Yeah.
Yes, they want to do the
He has
tours.
12 people at a time.
And
No
they,
limit to the.
he limits them.
He carries they wear headsets so they can hear,
He speaks and
and he only has so
they're
many
walking.
headsets.
Oh, that's a good idea.
But it's both tours are wonderful, east and west side. I highly recommend
I haven't
them.
done the east side.
If you
I've
haven't
done
done
the east
them,
side too.
I highly recommend them. He does a wonderful job. It's incredibly interesting. It's always just a joy. And I've been on them a couple of times. So,
He
and
looked
it
like
doesn't
he was
get
going to
old.
Africa. He had a big hat.
Yes,
that's
he-
cool.
He wears
It's
his
kind of
sun
big
hat.
Like a
khakis.
safari
Yes.
tour.
Yeah.
What time of day does he do that again?
They are generally,
They vary.
yeah, there are some that are day and then there's some that are usually the evening So they vary, but you have to look at the museum website to find when they're opening them. Or if you're a member of the museum, you get a nice little notice. Guess what's coming? And mark your calendar to sign up because it books up.
Karen, did you embark to?
We did not
Okay, because you were talking about it.
talk about it. We
It's
didn't-
on your list, huh?
Right.
So, but that's a wonderful thing, and I'm hoping that if you ladies are okay with it, it's something that I don't want to plop on Kathy. So I'm hoping that the board members will also agree to be present for those short 15 to 20
have to be
minute
here
tours. I know you have
Because
to
of
be
the
here,
keys, so I might as well
I know
do
you have
them,
to be here,
honestly.
but it's part of our responsibility is, to be able to be,
It's like 15 minutes.
Yes,
It's
Yes,
almost,
it's not like a
Help
big
almost not worth the
questions.
drive, but I will welcome your help if you want to be.
Yeah, good to be here, help answer questions, be an investor in the house, just, make it a pleasant experience for.
I'm not sure he has any set up in September. He told me he would let me know.
He told me he was planning some, so maybe he's keeping
I don't
that
think they're
close to his
scheduled
vest for now, yeah. He waits to get his schedule out, and I can respect that, so, but yes, I told him I will be available, I'll take care of the September ones.
Well, and it'll depend on if he comes during the daytime, if we have clubs. So,
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well,
That's it.
alrighty, let's move on then. Other business.
I did think of one thing for other business, and actually it probably should have been a new business, and I forgot to email it. The brochures and the self-guided tours, specifically self-guided tours, and I know you're talking about the brochures because you're reprinting them soon, but the self-guided tours, both those materials, we need to update them. I have some updates for them. I'd like to have anyone who's interested in helping with update them get together with me so that we can properly do the revisions prior to the September 11th art walk and prior to when you go to press with
well, we need to go to press with the history brochures soon. We're out.
Right, so
We're
soon
completely
means,
out.
does soon mean next week, next month, September? What does
Well, in
soon
the
mean?
meantime, I'm just reprinting. They're kind of the print's not great because my printer doesn't have the right capacity, but probably August.
Okay.
I'm trying to get bids for it right now.
Okay.
I need to go through Swellen and get a bid from the guys that print the recreation brochure.
Now you said on the self-guided tour, that's the little staple.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly are you?
The
There's some
content,
dates that are kind of
there's some
weird.
things that need to be changed. Some of the content needs to be
Tweaked.
tweaked, yeah, and the flow change a little bit, so that's a little more user friendly when entering the house and going from room to room. So it might.
I'd be glad to help you.
Wonderful. Okay. And I can just email you and
Yes.
and check in with you about your schedule and correct. But yes, I would love that.
Let's do it after the submission of the grant.
Is that okay? Because you said August.
I
Is it
don't think
okay?
it's gonna, I print the room by room tours here, so we don't go to print for those.
Okay.
And I can print the history brochure. I would like to wait till after the 1st of August.
I'm good with that too, as long as you're okay with
I'm
holding off on printing the marketing brochures till.
I'm fine.
Okay, fine.
But I'd rather, I wanna get the grant done, and honestly, we were picking up a lot of events, there's a lot of event work right now.
Yeah.
And so I wanna wait till after the 1st of August.
That sounds good.
Let's have priorities instead
Okay.
of trying to do everything at once.
Right.
I know that's your specialty.
Yes, your specialty.
But I'm multitasking on many levels.
Well, that's the
I have
problem with it.
I have 7, 8 events right now that I'm trying to crank out estimates and contracts and walkthroughs, and we have 2 weddings the first week of August. So I don't want to commit to something I can't do.
Don't want to
I
live in that
And I
life.
can't.
I appreciate that.
So let's finish the grant and then we'll move on to the next one.
Okay, just don't print brochures.
Okay.
I won't.
Any other business?
Sorry about that, no.
Anything else anybody want to bring up? All right, then let's move on to future agenda items, and I was gonna give that to Kathy, but
These are very faded looking, but this is what I'm using right now. I'm just putting them
Right,
upstairs.
this is one of these.
I know.
Yeah,
I know, but those are the ones we're completely out of.
okay,
So
okay.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
And I already made some of the changes, so I think it's pretty close.
All right, good. I'll take
I didn't completely change it.
And you know what, would you have a problem if Karen and I just get together beforehand, if just by chance to talk about things, and then
I don't
we're not
wanna-
gonna make changes?
I just
or
wanna
anything?
change the words.
Mhm.
Let's not change the format at all.
Oh, no, yeah.
Yeah,
Not
because
change
it's all
format.
set.
Oh, yeah. But if we get together and it doesn't have to, we don't have to bother you.
That's fine. The other
We're
one
just
we can
gonna get
change
it
for our
outside.
heart's content because it's just a document.
Right.
Yeah, this is laid out in Publisher, so I don't wanna
Right.
completely
Oh, that's-
rework it.
Yeah, the ripple effect.
Yeah,
We
the
want
ripple
that
effect,
everything-
Yeah.
Publisher, yeah.
Okay, all right, I think that's all the other business we had, so we're gonna move on to future agenda items, and Kathy, I think. Oh,
We'll just
Come
let,
on, Kathy.
this
We'll
is
just let
Karen,
Karen
this
know.
is Karen's meeting.
Yes.
Today.
Oh, no. Well, I suggested these for because they're
For
things
future.
that I thought of, and in prior, the year before I stepped off of the board, I thought, you know what, we really need to do that. And I'm the one who kind of got us going on having an annual past and present board members and house manager tea, which I think is important to continue. So I'm hoping we'll do that again this year. It does serve two purposes. It brings basically the sisterhood together, of past and present. It helps us all to share what's happening with the house now and what's coming. It helps to re-engage past board members who may be interested in stepping back on the board at some point. It also helps to get the word out through them whenever we're needing to fill a vacancy on the board, or if the vacancy's coming up. So I think that's something that I'm going backwards. The C is something that we should probably talk about to plan when that would happen this year. I think in part it goes hand in hand with what Connie's response was, in that she said, are we doing anything for the 150th celebration? And so we can kind of piggyback the two or combine the two, so that the 150th celebration would probably occur in the garden, just be an open event for the community, but potentially the beginning of that could be our annual gathering, past and present board members and house managers, and then lead into open garden celebration for the 150th celebration. So
I'm not crazy about adding a public event this year. We've just got too much going on. So that's just my 2 cents worth. Are these future agenda items, or are we gonna talk about them now?
just a brief description of them. So
Okay.
we can talk about it next month. Going back to A, the house manager photos. We don't have all of the house manager photos up on the wall, and I mentioned
We don't even have all
back, we
pictures
don't
of
have
all
all
of
the
them.
pictures yet. I mentioned in 2019, hey, we need to properly honor house managers, and let's get some
We have
photos
pictures of
and
hardly any of
dates
them.
of service,
Yeah.
and I think we can collect them. It's just going to take some group effort. So that's something that we can
I know when Paul,
in the
that's
future.
when I worked here, when Paul there was a newspaper article on her, I remember it. And they had a nice picture of her in the Times Call.
Yeah,
That would have been in like
there's been
77.
probably 15
Easy to-
managers,
easy
and
to
we get
get
maybe
to
3
Yeah,
pictures.
but I was,
So
I remember
Wow.
that, because she
I-
talked about the.
Yeah, that might not be.
I think we need to, get as many as we can and then do it
Think about
moving forward.
Yeah.
I think we can tackle it. So, then the B, the house scrapbook, I think we need to update that. Obviously, there are things, I don't know that anyone's really looked through it, but there are things that are probably that are not in there that should be. So I'd like us to another project.
We haven't
Really
actively
focus on-
maintained it for
Yes.
probably 5 or 6 years.
I've never seen it.
Well, Stu Ganger used to collect things for it, but nobody, since I've been here, nobody's taken a very active interest in it. So,
So it's.
Problem is, what do you do with those scrapbooks?
well,
You can leave them open in open house events. You can leave them set out on tables.
people don't really look at them though. We
People
tried that.
if they wanted.
Yeah.
And
The
then
scrapbooks mostly just sit. And most of the scrapbooks that are here cover, like a decade. you know, at a time-ish. And since Sue Yeager left, there really hasn't been anybody who's had any interest in them, so
What's the
your point's well taken.
What's the oldest
I
one?
bet in the 70s, I think.
Oh, so
I
it's
just looked at them recently, 70-ish.
Yeah.
So we haven't really maintained them, and there really hasn't been a ton of stuff to put in them other than board pictures and stuff.
Yeah.
A couple articles, so we'll have to decide what that looks like, and if somebody's interested enough to do it.
Well, I'm
Because
hoping
it's a job.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping someone or others might be interested in joining me in that process, because I do think it'd be worthwhile. It's kind of an archive of our own that belongs at the house, and while we cannot post everything up or hang everything up on the walls, there are definitely times where people would
Wanna
be
look,
interested in seeing, you know, what the original house looked like. And we have that photo, and we can put that in scrapbooks. You know, these are things that I think are important to share with the public whenever they're asking for it, and to have them available readily right there in the scrapbooks. It's really not that much. Okay.
Jumping back to house manager photos, Kathy, do we have a nice photo of you up there?
We don't. We do have some pictures of me in the garden that are more informal.
We should
But-
probably get a nice headshot.
Yeah, at some point we
We
should.
could start from now and work backwards. Because we do you.
We've got
Leslie.
you.
I mean, we've got some of the our more recent ones.
Yeah.
So we should start from there instead of
Yeah.
Well, you could
backwards
cover
and
you could cover all of the this century if you could just get a hold of me and Leslie. That would give you 21
and then-
years
and then,
ish.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
let's
what's
do,
her
we
name?
start with you.
Leslie.
Now, even before that, she worked at Foxhill. Joni Hills.
Yeah.
She's around too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Marge, wasn't there a Marge who came in the 80s?
There's a whole list.
But we know where three of you are.
Yeah, we know three of you are.
Yeah, I'd say let's get what we can. And
Well, and we do have a few pictures upstairs.
yeah, there's a few older
Yeah.
ones which are nice to have.
Yeah. I mean, we've got, let's see, so Leslie, Pam Mansell, Sylvia Ortega, Joan Petals, Gail Phillips, Marge Connolly.
Marge.
Some of them were here such a short
Yeah,
period
Marge
of
wasn't
time.
there very long.
Yeah.
It was a
77 to 89, I think that's a significant period of time.
Oh, okay. I didn't
Oh,
know she.
yeah.
I thought she was here last.
I think there's a picture of her upstairs though, isn't there?
there was a man here one.
Yes, there was. It's Mr. Jack Barkley,
Mm-hmm.
70, 71. So, anyway, yeah. I think it's worth doing.
There was a man here.
Man,
Ben's like shaking his head.
That's funny.
Wonderful. Wow, see, this is so doable.
Yeah.
These are doable projects. We can do it.
If we can
And
find
it's,
them.
and it's not something that's going to require your time. Just forward.
Yeah.
We can do it.
If we can find them, that'll be the trick.
We can do it.
Does the city have records? They were city employees, so couldn't we go through the city records?
Well, they became
Can we laugh now or later?
Picture, yeah.
Yeah.
Pictures are not a thing, but you can always check.
But you would have
check
phone
it
numbers
there.
and maybe a way to contact them.
But they'd be really old.
It
They would be
doesn't
old.
hurt. It
They
doesn't-
don't they don't
They couldn't
maintain
get-
records on
yeah,
employees after
yeah.
they leave.
Yeah.
And not all of them, it doesn't go this far back as
Would be
the first house manager, because it wasn't, they weren't necessarily.
Let me see that.
So, well, Mary's picture's up on the wall there, and she was actually,
Employee of the-
Mary Shy was the first technically house manager. Her picture's up there.
Yes.
See, that was 36,
I was
right?
going to say, yeah, 30.
Well, 38.
Well, 38 is when. the
38 is when they
transfer
gifted the house.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
But,
okay, so this woman Kendall,
Mhm.
she lived in the house.
Well, people lived in
Whereas
the house
Mary
until the
didn't.
year 2000
Yeah.
ish.
Yeah, I remember Paul.
Joni lived
working
here.
alongside, yeah.
Yeah.
The bride's room was their bedroom.
Well, my
The two.
my office
Office, yeah,
and the bride's room were the manager's rooms.
Yeah, I remember.
Karen asked me when I took the job if I wanted to live here, and I said, "Oh hell no! I don't want to live and work in the same place.
No.
Like, no.
Yeah.
I
The whole
work 24
work.
hours a day.
Right.
They won't let me stay at the memorial.
You don't want to, do you?
Yeah, no, you don't.
I used to think it would be scary.
You at least have a shower, I guess.
Right,
there's a
there's
shower
that.
here.
When Paul was here, I'd say, "You sleep here? Aren't you scared?" She says, "No, it's beautiful." I go, "Oh, I couldn't sleep in that house alone."
Oh, I wouldn't have any trouble sleeping. Carlos won't even set
Carlos
foot.
doesn't-
Carlos is a custodian at the Memorial Building. He won't even come in the door.
Oh my God.
When he brings me things, he stands at the front door, passes them in.
Is it for ghosts or something?
Oversaw the
That's
house.
Which there are, though. Okay.
Okay.
Well, that was interesting. Okay, just to clarify for myself, the past and present board members team, what date?
We don't have a
Well,
date
we
yet.
haven't set a date, but it's something that we should talk
It's
about.
a future
maybe-
agenda.
Maybe next month's agenda should be
Okay.
on there.
We'll work on it, okay. Okay.
So you could put that item. Something.
I sent it up, so what do you want on
That's
this
what you,
agenda?
I saw you do that.
Well, these are things worth doing.
That pretty much covers our agenda. Before I move to adjourn, is there anything else we want to talk about? Karen?
I think she's popped out.
What's so funny is when I was interviewing with Brian Bagley to come back on the board, he said, "You served 2 terms back to back. It's wonderful you're offering your service, but why Callahan House again?" I said, "Well," and then I went on my whole.
Uh-oh. So you're sorry.
And he's
Yes.
like, "This
Yes.
is supposed to be a 5-minute interview." No, I just shared with them just how beautiful the home is, and that its purpose is a treasure. I mean, how amazing, their views were at that time. And I mean, in 1938,
What a
they
gift.
50
That's a great
gift.
Huge. So, good purpose.
Anything?
I do have one thing. We do need to start thinking about recruitment.
Gee.
We'll have 2 positions open this year unless people opt back in. So I'm just putting a bug in your ear. It is coming up.
Okay.
I met Paula Fitzgerald the other night, who wrote the book about all the parks in Longmont, and she worked for the city. And I didn't say anything to her, but afterwards I thought, boy, she's retired now, and it might be nice to have her on the board. Very
Yes.
nice lady.
Yeah.
All is a gem.
Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, but
Yeah.
And obviously,
I thought she was there, right?
Yeah, it was very.
if people are just in their first term, they may want to re-up. But we need to at least start thinking about that and, just back your mind. Because if we leave it till the last minute, we end up with open spots.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
That's handy. Karen, anything? Kind of quiet? Okay.
She's taking notes.
I'm
Badly.
busy.
She's writing badly.
Okay, then can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'm going to adjourn.
Second.
And Richard?
All right. Thank
Nice
you.
and timely.